Let me ask you a question. How long does it take for muscle growth to happen? How long does it take for hypertrophy to happen? Think about a burn, right? A burn wound on your skin, or any other kind of skin wound. A skin wound like a burn uses something called the ectodermal germline to heal. Now, for various biological reasons, that germline is quite fast. If you've ever had a wound like that, you'll know it's about 3 to 7 days, right? Sometimes more like 2 weeks if it's bad, right? Depending on how bad it is shorter or longer, but it's around 3 days to 2 weeks, maybe even less. Muscles use something called the mesodermal germline. They don't use the ectodermal germline. And the mesodermal germline is actually deeper down biologically. Muscles, to repair themselves to the kind of original state that they were in strength-wise, doesn't take that long. The normal advice is like 3 days between working, or like 48 hours between working every single muscle so that strength regenerates, right? That's not that long. That's about 3 days. But for muscle growth, it takes longer. Actual like visible size, it takes longer. You might be saying, well, how long does it take? If you guess, if you're like me, before I learned, you might say, well, 3 weeks, maybe. 4 weeks, 5 weeks. If I was to just kind of guess off the top of my head, but that is not true. The amount of time it takes for muscles to grow bigger than they were, not just, repair themselves to original strength, takes about 6 to 8 weeks of time because it uses the mesodermal germline. What does this mean? It means that we have to be patient. I recently, this is kind of a personal story, changed up my routine to add in an accessory day. That means I get to work all the muscles that I felt that I had neglected, like abs, traps, forearms, neck, stuff like that. And after a little while, I was frustrated that I wasn't seeing any size gains in those muscles. It was about the 3-week mark, right? So after 3 weeks of doing this new routine, I was kind of frustrated as to, why wasn't I gaining size? I was putting in a ton of effort. And that's when I learned about the mesodermal germline and how long it takes for muscles to actually grow. The lesson is just be patient, right? You can put in a ton of effort and you can be doing good stuff, but it might take a while before there are actual visible results. 6 to 8 weeks is about that time frame, right? So if you're not seeing physical results, if you've just started working out, or you added a new exercise that you think is going to help you grow, or you changed up your routine to work, new muscle groups, if after 4 weeks you don't see any visible size difference, don't get frustrated, right? That's not how biology works. 6 to 8 weeks is about the time that you start seeing the smallest amount of size gain. You just need to be patient, right? This is all faith-based work. This is the kind of work that matters in life. It's the work where you put in the work before you actually receive the result. It's not just one in, one out. It's not one unit of work for 1 unit of output, 1 unit of reward. That's not how this works. This is faith-based work. You need to stay faithful to the process. You need to just work hard, even though you don't see results right away, and be patient. So I mean, this video is kind of a bit of encouragement to you, anyone who's, maybe not seeing the results immediately, is kind of wondering if am I doing the wrong thing, shit like that. Bro, sometimes you just have to be patient. It takes longer than you expect to grow the muscle you want. So, it's not just a week, 3 weeks, 5 weeks. It can be up to 2 months before you start seeing actual visible differences in your physique. So I'm out of breath right now because I just interrupted the video to go help my mom move some really heavy bookcases upstairs. But that's what we work out for. So Yeah, anyways, to conclude the video, be patient with yourself. Be patient with your goals. You know, always work hard. Don't use like being patient or, you know, having kind of like a balanced approach to working out. Don't let that make you work out any less hard, right? Don't let that make you put in any less effort. But at the same time, like, know biologically what the realistic kind of like timeline for goals, the realistic timeline for results will be, so that you can be patient with yourself. And after like 3 weeks of implementing something new, you don't get frustrated and then quit. Because I mean, I think this just highlights, like, at the end of the day, consistency is the number one metric that is like the best for anyone that's trying to get in shape. Like, just consistency and longevity is it, bro. Intensity is very important, but I mean, if you have a routine that you love and you're gonna stick with, then that's always going to trump another routine that may be like better or more optimal, but you don't end up sticking with it, right? That's kind of like my golden rule, which is basically modify working out, modify the information that you hear, the advice that you hear for working out to best fit you. If it makes it more fun or whatever, more effective for you, basically. Yeah, but just consistency, sticking with it, never giving up, always having a good positive mental attitude. Sounds really cringe. Sounds really fucking cringe, I know, but that at the end of the day is super important to your journey, your results. And so yeah, don't get discouraged if after 4 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe you haven't seen results from swapping something up, because it could be 2 months before that kicks in. But when it does kick in, you start seeing like hella size gains from it. But yeah, if you made it this far, there's something that you can do, which is a win-win for both of us, which is to scroll down and click the subscribe button. I win because you get a new subscriber. You win because anytime I have a new insight, learn something new, try something new, I can make a video and directly give you value. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day and Merry Christmas. Have a very Merry Christmas.